This week on Supercars Talk, it's time for a Silliest season update. According to Cam Waters, everyone wants to get out of the category, so it's time to talk about the silly season because it is starting to get quite silly out there. Now, I've tried to dust in a few little sillier predictions of mine. All of these, though, are within the realms of possibility. It's not like we're going to get, Peter Brock back or even, say, a Craig Lowndes. These are things that could genuinely happen, and usually I've got some reasons behind them. Down in the comments, let me know what you think about these predictions and, where we are at with them. But we'll kick it off with the ones that probably aren't going to change, and there's no point in really speculating on change because I think these ones will be status quo. The first cab off the rank is Tickford Racing. They've got bigger issues with trying to get the cars consistent at the moment. Anton's doing Anton things once again, and Davison's been quite consistent all year, so I think they really need to sort out what they're doing with the cars first and then start looking at the driver lineup. They have got Kai Allen, it looks like, on a long-term development deal thing now, so that could be where they're looking as a Davison replacement in a year or two. Then we've got Matt Stone Racing. Jack LeBrock has definitely taken up the lead driver role there and has really, he's really impressed this year, so no point in changing that. And Cam Hill, in his rookie season, he's bringing some budget and he's doing a pretty good job, so no need to swap him out. And the other one where I think it's going to be status quo would be Premier Racing. They're both very midfield. Golding and Slade doing a very similar job. They have got bigger issues to fry before they really need to look at the drivers. The drivers are not the problem there, so I can see them continuing with those guys whether or not they need new contracts for next year or not. Now, for the guys where there will possibly be some changes. We'll kick it off with the Blanchards. The big question here is one car or two. Will they get that second license or charter or whatever we're calling them now that they have desperately been chasing? I like to put in the desperately. They've been pretty quiet about it. I fully expect Todd Hazelwood, he's out of contract at the end of the year. It was only a one-year deal, but I fully expect him to continue on. So then the big question there is, if they do go to two cars, then who is in the running for that seat? Aaron Love is definitely the favourite at the moment. As we get further on, James Courtney, Scott Pye are both very experienced guys that might be good for the team kicking off on that expansion. I think they're probably going to be available next year for that role. But left of field, they have been saying that they do need funding for the second car. It will not be a cool drive car. It will need its own funding. Jake Kostecki is there in their lineup for the endurance races, and he's not afraid to bring a check along with him. Walkinshaw, Andretti United. Chaz is there. Plain and simple. We don't need to discuss that one. Nick Percat, on the other hand, and I have heard NTI not happy with what's going on as well. Expect full change there on car number 2. Now, I expect that Cam Waters was the first target. As many teams, Cam Waters has probably been their main target this silly season. It's looking like he's staying with Tickford. So now they're moving on to Ryan Wood, who's the Super 2 protege, or Fabian Coulthard. Why? Why? My prediction here is Dave Reynolds is looking for a seat because the Groves won't commit to him. He has a little bit of history with Walkinshaw's back in the old days. He hasn't totally burnt bridges there like he had with a few teams, although he did end up, back with the Kelly Racing team essentially. Dave Reynolds, Al McVeigh, bit of a homecoming for those guys. They brought Erebus from nowhere up to the front of the field, essentially. Who better to come and sort out that number 2 side of the field, even if it's a 1 or 2 year deal, sort it out, bring it back up, and then they're right to, you know, go for whoever's the next big thing to partner Chaz to try and have that 1-2 punch for the championship. That Nick Percat has definitely failed on that. So my prediction is a Dave Reynolds reunion there at Walkinshaws. Brad Jones Racing. I'd hate to say all you Instabook commenters out there that are saying that Brad Jones should fire Jack Smith and get Nick Percat back to do the job because Jack's results are terrible. That car's owned by Jack Smith's father. He's not going anywhere. As long as he wants to continue driving, he's not going anywhere. That seat is locked in. Jaime's locked in. Fullwood's doing a good job and brings money. Lock that one in. And Macca, they've got a budget on Macca's car. So he's the boss's son. They have a budget. Why is that going to change? I fully expect Brad Jones Racing exactly the same lineup next year. Cars are going to look the same, just same. At Team 18, Frosty is under contract for another year, so that seat's locked away. The big thing is, it does finally look like Pye is on the way out. The big rumour at the moment is Dave Reynolds, but as I've said earlier, I expect him to end up at Walkinshaws. So Walkinshaws need a seat to put Ryan Wood into. Perfect place for him to go and learn. Frosty's a great person to learn off. He doesn't get that, then if that number 2 car is wrong, he doesn't get smashed by it. He can go and learn in a bit quieter environment before Reynolds gets that number 2 car up to speed, and then they can feed him in and off they go. I think this is a much more logical option and something that we haven't seen for a while, but I think we might start seeing this a bit where these younger guys, they do come in and get put with a junior team for a couple of years or at least a year or whatever to get some experience before then they move up into the main team where they're intended to do. I think we're going to see Ryan Wood farmed out here for a season and with some mobile backing too. Grove Racing, Matt Payne is locked in and it's looking like they are shopping around for someone to fill in Reynolds' seat. So I'm not sure if Reynolds is instigating the move or Groves are not kind of wanting to commit to Reynolds because they want a bigger fish. Cam Waters, anyone? I expect they've made a big play for Cam Waters. It's not coming off, but in the meantime, Reynolds has started to go looking elsewhere and now they've got themselves in a bit of a predicament because who do you go for then if, there isn't that top line driver to fill that spot, I suppose. Is Reynolds the top line driver for that? That's open to debate a little bit. But yeah, where do you go from here? They have got Garth Tander on the books, you know, maybe a stopgap year again, like they did with Lee Holdsworth. Get Garth in for a season just to shore up things. Or know what the Groves are like. They've got Kevin Estray in for the endurance races. His name escapes my brain right now, but they did Matty Campbell as well. You know, maybe they go a bit more left of field and get a more international kind of person in for that seat. But I think in their hope of scoring a bigger name, they may have backed themselves into a corner and lost their current name driver. Tickford Racing. The big question, 2 or 4 cars. It does look like they might be dropping back to 2, but assuming they have 4 cars, obviously signing and sealing Cam Waters, that is target number 1. That's the main thing. Then to fill the other cars, obviously Randall has got the Castrol backing. Happy days with that. Declan Fraser is there with his backing. Happy days with that one. Then the 4th seat is a bit of a question mark. Zach Best is looking for a seat. He has some backing. I can't see James Courtney being around still in any realm of this. I just think that the backing isn't quite there and they might have a monster gap in their budget to fill. assuming they go to 2 cars and they do keep Cam Waters, I expect him to be in a Castrol car and Monster gone, with then Declan Fraser as the teammate. And then, the flow-on effect then is, where does Randall end up? Because he definitely deserves a seat. So, I don't think he should just be a co-driver. But the big question here is whether it's the 2 or 4 car thing probably needs to be decided before they really, try and lock in the drivers, because I think there's going to be a bit of a flow-on effect from that, rather than it's not just as simple as, hey, we've got these guys because we know how many seats we've got. 888. Feeney is locked in. He's doing a great job. He can be the team leader now. Shane Van Gisbergen is off to NASCAR. He's gone. So they need to replace him. Where do you look? The sensible money is they're going for Cam Waters or Chaz Mossert, get them out of their contracts. I don't think Jamie's going to open the checkbook to pay those guys out of the contract or pay them the big bucks. I think this is a cost-saving exercise for them now. They don't have to pay Shane's big wage. They can get someone a lot cheaper. Richie Stanaway, logical choice. He can make his Dan Ricciardo comeback. He will be cheap. If it doesn't work out, you've still got Brock Feeney getting the results for the team. My big pick here, though, is, which sounds a little bit silly at first, but when you think about it more, the more it makes sense. Nick Percat to 888. He's looking for a drive. They will get him cheap. He has a great rapport with Andrew Edwards, who's the lead engineer for that 97 at the moment. They had, they worked together at BJR. They had great results together. That part is no concern. He will be cheap. And to me, Richie did great things overseas, but I think Nick Percat in these kind of cars, he's got higher. Now, it could be a total failure, but if it works, you could have a Jamie Whincup 7 championships in a row. And then if all else fails, 888 have got the ultimate fallback in Jamie Whincup coming back, which I think that's just a negotiating tactic with whoever they're trying to get into the seat. It's like, well, if you don't sign, I'll just drive myself. And finally, Erebus. At the moment, everything looks rosy, but what happens if Brodie decides to go NASCAR racing with Shane? Then they need someone to fill that seat next to Will Brown. They're big players in the championship now. It's not like the Erebus of old where you're plucking a couple of guys straight out of Super 2. Having said that, though, I think Kai Allen. I'm not sure what the contract's like at DJR and whatever, but why not have a crack for him? Because you've got a potential seat with DJR in a couple of years. Or you've got a seat now with the front-running team. That would be my tip there. I haven't really looked any further than that because I think that's a logical choice, and probably chances are Brodie's going to be kicking around for at least another year there at Erebus. The other big question in all of this, of course, is then where will Renee Gracie fit in the grid with all of her fans backing? That one won't happen. I think I can probably see the Tickford if they're at 2 cars. I can see Zach Best kind of missing out on a seat again. He's probably a little bit of a chance there, maybe at Blanchard's. I think Zach Best is going to miss the merry-go-round again. And I think most of the other Super 2 guys probably aren't quite ready to make the step up. I even think possibly, Ryan Wood and Kai Allen making the step up straight away. That could be a bit early, but I would prefer to see those guys come in a little bit early than, say, Fabian Coulthard coming back into the category. I'd prefer to see some young blood coming in to fill that void that could be cleared with a couple of guys potentially retiring, maybe not their decision to retire, and obviously a couple of guys looking elsewhere to NASCAR. But down in the comments, let me know where you think people are going to end up. some of my suggestions totally ridiculous. I've tried to base them on fact. I don't have quite inside knowledge on all of these things, so yeah, so some of them probably won't pan out, some of them may, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.